Hello, my grade 8 students. Today's activity is about the specific immune response. So, after studying about the non-specific immune response, now we want to study about the response of the immune system, which is specific in action. Specific means it has an immune response only against one specific kind of antigen. So let's take a little introduction about this activity. The specific immune response is the second line of defense of the immune system against a specific only one type of antigen. So as I said, the specific immune response, it's the second line of defense. It comes after the non-specific immune response, and it is specific since it's only against one type of antigen. For example, if I have inside my body, for example, any kind of virus, so the immune response will be only against this type of virus. So we want to study how the immune response is specific, yani it's only specific against something or against one type of antigen. It takes place after the failure of the immune response, non-specific immune response, to eliminate an antigen. So if phagocytosis cannot happen, cannot kill or destroy the antigen, so in this case, we will have a specific immune response. The effector leukocytes of the specific immune response are B or T lymphocyte, or sometimes B and T lymphocytes. So now here, the macrophages are not the effector cells. The effector cells are B or T lymphocytes. Yani the cells that are going to make the immune response or the specific immune response are B and T lymphocytes. So as I said, it's carried by B or T lymphocytes. Unlike phagocytosis, have sophisticated mechanisms of antigen identification. So here I have to identify the antigen for doing the action or the immune response. يعني منه random. It's very specific. There are two types of specific immune response: cell mediated and humoral immune response. فإذا عنا دورين two types من immune response, specific immune response. In the specific immune response ممكن يكون يا cell mediated or humoral. بس نحنا we have studied only till now cell mediated أو هلا that we are going to study about cell mediated in this video. يعني قصدي أنا not in the class. So during this video, we are going to talk about the cell-mediated specific immune response. So the specific cell-mediated specific immune response is a type of the immune response. For example, the graft rejection. So it's an example of the cell-mediated specific immune response. Here we have the macrophages, okay, start their phagocytosis. Here I have non-allograft cells, and here I have the self cells are and here non-self. Okay, so the macrophages make phagocytosis of the antigen of non-self cells, then to activate the T lymphocytes and especially killer T lymphocytes. So here at the end we obtain activated killer T lymphocytes. يعني after أول step, the first step is the phagocytosis of the non-self cells, and after many processes happened, at the end we obtain activation of killer T lymphocytes. Then these killer T lymphocytes move to reach these cells, which are the non-self cells. بيعلقوا هون, they bond here, and they lead to the destruction of the non-self cells. فإذا first step هي phagocytosis of the antigen. Next step هي بتكون activation للكيلر T lymphocytes, and at the end the activated killer T lymphocytes are going to bind on the non-self cells to lead at the end or to the destruction of them. So the effector cells in the graft rejection is the killer T lymphocytes, which is therefore a cell-mediated specific immune response. So when I have activated killer T lymphocytes or T lymphocytes are activated, so at the end we can say this kind of the specific immune response is cell mediated. So cell mediated one, the effector cells are the T lymphocytes or killer T lymphocytes. We obtain at the end the destruction of these cells مفروض يعني. The steps هن هو just for reading يعني not important to it's not important to memorize them. Phagocytosis by macrophages to the non-self antigen. As I said before, activation of the killer T lymphocytes by macrophages, binding the TCR of the killer T lymphocytes to the antigen of non-self. By the way, this is the TCR. Binding of the TCR of activated killer T lymphocytes on the non-self antigen. هيدا الانتيجين leading to their destruction. بيعمل perforating للسيل membrane by some chemicals بعدين leading to their destruction. Document A. Here in document A, I have an autograft and here I have an allograft. Look at this autograft, which is the skin graft in the same person. The cells are recognized. These cells are the grafted cells يعني taken maybe from من الفخذ مثلا ما بعرف لأي منطقة. The cells are recognized by the immune system as self. So here because they are taken from the same individual in the same individual فإذا حيكونوا recognized as self. So no attack and the cells are accepted and the blood vessels are formed in the graft leading to having a red color. فإذا أنا ارسم لكم شغله هون. skin graft مثلا هيدا in the same individual من هيدا point to this point. So these cells have the antigen which is as these cells because they belong to the same individual فهول اثنيناتهم will be recognized and considered as self not as non-self. And at the end because they are accepted blood vessels will be formed. حيمرق البلاد vessels بكل الجسم اللي إله ليفوتوا لعنده. So here the blood vessels are formed. So because of that we obtain a red color. So this red color comes from the vascularization of the graft يعني انقبلت الجرافت لأنها صارت ما شاء الله موردة. Now we want to talk about this allograft. This allograft comes from another person or another individual having different MHC, so it will be recognized as non-self, and at the end it will be attacked by the killer T lymphocytes and no blood vessels will be formed, and this leads to the destruction and killing of these cells and having a black color. ما حيفوت البلاد فازل لجوا. ممنوع تتغذى هيدي السيل, so it will die. So these cells have different MHC or HLC HLA as the self cells. مثلا هول حيكون عندهم هيدا الشيب للانتيجين, هول حيكون عندهم different shape. فهيدي المشكلة اللي حتواجهها وحتكون هيدي destroyed and eliminated at the end of the cell mediated specific immune response. So here you can see a non-self cell. Look at the non-self. This picture is taken under the microscope. I think it's electronic microscope. And look at this small cell. It's the killer T lymphocyte. And the giant one is for what? It's for the non-self cell. So I have here binding between them, and the chemical substances will be released from here to this cell, leading to the destruction of the non-self cell or the target cell. الهدف الهوست cell اللي هي اللي حتكون هدفها, يعني هيدي حتكون هدفها هيدي لتقتلها, because they are specific in action. They can kill only this type of cell, not any cell. Because of that, it's called specific immune response. So what will be the consequence of the target cell in case of the binding between the killer T lymphocyte and the giant cell, which is called, maybe it's a cancer cell, maybe it's infected cell by a virus, maybe it's an allograft cell. كلهم هول they are called non-self. So it will lead to the destruction of the giant cell or target cell. Now here in this exercise is very important. We have a skin graft experiments are performed between 3 mice A, B, and C of different strains, and the thymus of the mouse C was removed at birth for mouse C only. يعني. So here we have 3 mice, and we want to study if the thymus is the organ responsible for the uh, destruction or elimination of the graft of the graft. فإذا نحن we are carrying out this experiment, we are performing this experiment in order to know if the thymus is responsible for the graft rejection or no. يعني we want to know what is the organ responsible for the graft rejection. يعني أنا إذا عم بنقل kidney from me to my brother or to my sister أو to any one of my family, بدي أعرف إذا الثايمس هو اللي بيرفضها ولا مش هو. We are carrying this experiment. أكيد we cannot carry this experiment on humans. So we are going to do it in mice لأنه المايس عندها ميميكري هاي ميميكري مع الهيومنز، عندها كتير تشابه مع الهيومنز فبنعملها. وكمان المايس يعني بخلفوا بكير وكمان يعني نعمل تجاربنا على المايس لأنه كمان في resembles بالأورجنز بالديزيزز بيننا وبينهم في كتير تشابه كتير بالأورجنز بالأعضاء and also in the diseases بالأمراض مثلنا يعني. They have the same as us. عندهم نفس الشيء الديابيتس، عندهم الزهايمر، عندهم كمان باي ذا واي عندهم كانسر. المايس عندهم كمان cardiovascular diseases جلطات وقلب مشاكل بالقلب، نفس الشيء مثلهم يعني بيتشابهوا كتير فينا. عندهم سكري كمان، عندهم ديابيتس، عندهم كتير اشياء بيتشابهوا بيننا وبينهم. So because of that I want to check if the thymus is responsible for the graft rejection or no. طب I have a control experiment which is with thymus and here I have no thymus. So this is the control experiment. يعني بدي اعمل انا شيء قارنه مع شيء. يعني هيدي مع thymus and this one is without thymus. This is the control experiment. So the skin graft from donor mouse A to the donor mouse B having whose thymus was present showed a graft rejection. So مع thymus I have graft rejection. While the skin graft from donor mouse A to donor mouse C of different strains and whose thymus was removed or already or previously removed I have a graft acceptance. فإذا لما ما في thymus the graft is accepted. يعني عم تنرفض عم تنقبل الجرافت. فإذا the thymus is the organ responsible for the graft rejection in mouse B. يعني الثايمس هو اللي عم يعمل rejection. بس كيف؟ هلا بنشوف كيف. فإذا شو قلنا كنا عملنا interpretation وعرفنا انه الثايمس هو اللي بيعمل rejection. بس هيدا اذا شلنا منه الثايمس وعملنا سكن جرافت انقبلت، بس بدي انتبه اي بكتيريا او فيروس بتفوت عليه ممكن تقتله. because without thymus I have no T lymphocytes matured او I have no matured T lymphocytes. بهيك حالة I have no immune response, no complete immune response لأنه في بقلبهم في helper. وحكينا بالصف إنه they are very important. بس أنا بهمني تعرفوا تعملوا interpretation as a first step. فإذا أول شيء what is the type of the graft done here? It's allograft because it's done between different mice or mice of different strains having different MHC. The interpretation it's already done. Now the explanation why it's accepted here, why the graft is rejected here and why it's accepted here. Here in the mouse B, the T lymphocytes are mature because the mouse B has a thymus. So in this case, the T lymphocytes will attack the allograft cell. هيعملوا attack للallograft cell, leading to the destruction of them and the rejection of the graft. يعني أنا الماوس بي عندها T lymphocytes mature هيكونوا specific للجرافت اللي جاي from A حيقتلوها. بينما mouse C has no thymus. So in this case, the T lymphocytes here in the mouse C are not mature, so they cannot fight, they cannot eliminate the allograft cells, and this leads to the acceptance of the graft skin graft. فإذا المفتاح هو هون إنه هيدي مع thymus، هيدي without thymus، هيدي مع T lymphocytes mature T lymphocytes بيقدروا يقتلون، هيدا من دون mature T lymphocytes فما حيقدروا يعملوا rejection للجرافت. Specify the type of the immune response implicated. It's cell mediated specific immune response لأنه T lymphocytes are the effector cells. Name the types, the immune cells that are responsible for the destruction of the skin cells of the allograft. إن حيكون اسمهم T killer lymphocytes، إن اللي حيقتلوا السكين cells، حيقتلون هيك مثل ما شايفين. هول هن T killer lymphocytes، وهون هن مثلا allograft cells حيعملوا attack هيك ويموتوا، يقتلون يعني. Name the cells that activate the immune cells that are responsible for the destruction of the allograft cells. Macrophages حيعملوا activation لل T killer lymphocytes. وآخر شي بكون خلص الدرس. يعطيكم العافية.